questions that you had sent over.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, so I didn't know if we want to, get started with those questions or how familiar everyone is with Oak Meadow.
Sure. We can get started. It's a small group right now, so if everybody can just kind of introduce yourselves and then just tell us how long you've been homeschooling and the ages of your kids. And I can start with myself. And I know, Shannon, you're also a homeschool mom, or were a homeschool mom, right?
I
Um,
was, yeah.
yeah. So my name is Isela, and I am a homeschooled mom. Well, I have 3 children. 2 of them are homeschooled. My 2 oldest are homeschooled, and my 9-year-old isn't. And just like many of you, I'm also I've always been looking for a curriculum that is more, that is pretty secular. And what drew me to Oak Meadow was just the range of just so many books and so many things that you guys cover, and it's really cool. And Oak Meadow also participated in our conference. So yeah, I'm so glad that we formed this relationship. So if anybody wants to go ahead and introduce themselves. I know Ezra, she's from Oak Meadow as well. Does anybody want to introduce themselves?
I can jump in. Hi, I'm Melissa. I am in Colorado right now. I've been homeschooling my youngest for maybe 2-3 years. It started during the pandemic. My older 2 went to traditional public school, and I just wanted to do something different for my youngest one. And I'm also very interested in just seeing what other curriculum there is for secular curriculum, and also anything that comes with Latin American history from the perspective of Latin Americans without religion.
Thanks, Melissa. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Belinda. I am coming from Chicago. I've been homeschooling for, I think this is my 8th year. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. I usually put lessons together myself. I don't really use a lot of curriculum, so I'm here to see what's being offered and what people will be sharing, and hopefully I'll get inspired. Nice to be here.
My name's Marisela. I'm really excited to hear that Belinda is in the Chicago area, because I am also, and I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. They've never been in school, so I've always homeschooled them. I live about 5 or 6 years in Mexico, and then came back. So I would like to beef up my kids' Spanish. I Montessori trained and also have a master's in education. So I'm using a lot of different things, but it would be nice to get some help. Specifically for me, social studies and science, because I don't, my background's not in that. And I'm really excited to do this because this is my first time trying to build community with other homeschooling families. So I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. Great.
Hey, Marisela.
Yeah, meet all of you. And see, we have one more person, I think. I see one more.
Anybody else want to go next? Lonnie, do you want to introduce yourself? You don't have to turn on your camera if that's okay.
You don't have to, no.
Oh, sorry. No, I got late and I didn't know I saw the introductions, but I didn't know if it was like a participate all or like the cooler ones to do. My name is Leilani Ia Salvatore. I am originally from Chicago, but we moved to San Antonio, Texas. I have an almost 6-year-old and an almost 4-month-old. So, and then we're talking about what we do to homeschool. Is that what it was? Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So I do a little bit of everything. We're kind of unschoolers, and we kind of, we do like workbooks and things like that, and just kind of wing it. So I've seen a lot of curriculums. I think at this age, it's kind of more, yeah, we found a lot of workbooks at like Dollar Tree and things like that. But I feel like, yeah, going further into this, we're gonna need more of a structured thing, especially with the baby. So they're definitely interested in all the information, and I'm just like a little sponge waiting to absorb it all. So yes. So thank
Wonderful.
you.
Great. Well, I can get started with a little history of Oak Meadow. I know that was something you were curious about. So Oak Meadow has been around since 1975. Our founders, Lawrence and Bonnie Williams, they moved to California at a time with their 5 children when homeschooling was illegal, and they didn't find any schools that they liked for their children. And, you know, when they asked the state about it, they were told, well, they could start their own school. So that's what they did. They started a school, they began writing their own curriculum, started inviting other families to enroll in their school. And you had asked about the name, and I asked Wendy about it because I actually didn't remember. But where they were building the school was in the middle of a meadow that was surrounded by oak trees. And they asked the children what the school should be called, and they had decided to call it Oak Meadow. So that's where the name came from, is from the children who were first enrolled in the school. So, yeah. And then, you know, just while the physical school was difficult to maintain, they continued to write curriculum and to pursue homeschooling and distance learning options, and here we are today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Shannon, for that information. Yeah, when I met with Steve, he did tell me that, and it's, I mean, Oak Meadow's been around for a very, very long time, and you know, I'm just gonna ask some questions. If anybody has any questions for Oak Meadow, just we can pause and put you know, you could raise your hand. Anybody can jump in at any time. But you already told me when the company was founded. So what grade levels is the curriculum for?
So we have curriculum materials for preschool up through 12th grade. So materials for independent use from grades K through 8 come in packages where you get everything you need for the school year. In grades K through 3, the curriculum materials are, all subjects are included in one course book. So it's an integrated curriculum. Starting in grade 4, subjects begin to be separated out. Just the math in grade 4 and grade 5, the science and math are separated. And by grade 6, all of the subjects are a la carte. So you can mix and match, you know, either grade levels or other curricula. But you also always have the option of getting a whole complete package for the year.
Awesome. Can you tell me, you know, besides like what is your typical homeschooling family look like? What and I know sometimes they highlight some families on Instagram, but what's your typical homeschooling family look like?
Yeah, that is yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask, are they working parents? Are they college bound? Would you see a variety of different families with different goals?
We do. If we're talking about our high school program, it is a rigorous college preparatory program. I would say from K through 12, you know, families homeschool for so many different reasons, as you know. Some of our families travel, some of them are, you know, many of the students that are drawn to our curriculum are families who are, you know, they want something hands-on, they want to be in nature, they want to be able to, like you said, have a secular curriculum. They, you know, want to do creative projects and really get into more experiential learning and project-based curriculum style.
Okay, awesome. And are the lessons self-paced, or do they have is it self-paced, or are they more structured? Like, do they meet with the teacher and have live classes? How does it work? Is it a combination of
Well,
videos and books?
Well, there's a couple different ways to work with Oak Meadow. So you can purchase the curriculum to use independently. So if you want to, you know, totally be on your own pace, if you want to mix and match things, if you want to have the, you know, total freedom to do whatever you want, that would be the choice to make, is to purchase the curriculum and use it how you see fit. And the course books are formatted in weekly lessons. So typically that's 36 weekly lessons, so 18 weeks per semester. So what you'll see in that weekly lesson when you open that up would be what the learning objectives are, what the assignment summary is. It's really easy to make plans for the week with your student. In grades K through 3, it's going to be written to the parent or the home teacher to be sharing that the lessons with their child. And then in grade 4, we start to make a transition to the curriculum being written to the student, so that they can start taking some ownership of their learning, really foster that independence that's starting to grow at that time. The other option is to enroll in our distance learning school. So while the curriculum itself is structured in weekly lessons, enrollment is going to add a little bit more of having the responsibility to submit those weekly lessons to your Oak Meadow teacher. And the teacher role is not to present the learning material. What the teacher role is at Oak Meadow is they're going to review and assess the submitted lesson work and provide detailed narrative feedback and support. You know, in the early grades, it's going to be directly to you as a parent. You know, the lessons submission feedback cycle is monthly up through grade 4, and then biweekly after grade 5 and up. But the teacher is available in between those times if you have questions about lessons or the feedback, or you just need some general support. The teacher is available to you. So even though there are not online classes, the teacher is available to you for support.
Awesome. So if a student is having difficulties in a subject, are there tutors available, or how can they seek more help from Oak Meadow?
Yeah, if a student is enrolled and they need more help than a teacher in a supportive role can provide, we do have a listing of our teachers who do provide private tutoring services. So whether you hired a tutor close to you, or wanted to work with someone at a distance, we do have some of our teachers, you know, who are intimately familiar with the curriculum, do offer tutoring services.
Okay. And thank you for that, because that's something that, especially me, who sometimes who has sometimes a hard time explaining certain subjects, especially math. That's a subject that I have struggled with in the past. It's helpful to have some type of support for that. And sometimes my children listen to, I guess, the messengers are listen to somebody else more than me. I mean, it's hard to explain. So
no,
okay,
that's very common. I think a lot of our families who enroll, especially when we get around the kind of like 9 to 12, I feel like that's when students really want someone other than mom, you know, to be looking at their work and critiquing their work. It can be really motivating to have a third party eyes on that.
Yeah. So you were also a homeschool mom. How old are your kids? Are they older now? Are they in?
Yeah, my son is actually, he's turning 18 this weekend.
Wow.
So, and yeah, we used Oak Meadow when he was in the early grades. So
Okay.
And then he wanted to go to school. So,
Okay.
but I really miss those times because we had a really lovely experience with the curriculum when he was little. So I think it's that piece that what I love about specifically the early grades is the curriculum is based on whole child development. So it's not just about the academics, it's physical, social, emotional, it's all the aspects of learning. It's taking into account the whole child and creative expression and just that it's not just a head experience, it's also the hands and the heart and the way children learn in the early years, but really taking things into their body physically and you know, doing things together that were just sort of became part of our day, which meant that school wasn't like a separate compartmentalized thing, you know. We're just learning all the time, and when learning is fun, when it's joyful, that's something you hold on to like for the rest of your life. That you know, learning isn't this thing in a box that I do during these hours and I have to get through it so I can go have fun and do something else. Like learning can be enjoyable.
Yeah, it's and I pulled my children out of school, my two oldest, and I try to do what they do in school. I say, here we go, here's our books, and that actually didn't work, and that's why a lot of families probably get burned out at first. The ones that pull them out of school then take them back because they're just they're worried about not doing enough for their children. But thank you for that, for sharing that. And you know, another thing, a lot of the Latinos are a growing demographic in the homeschooling world, and a lot of us homeschool for many reasons. We're a very diverse group of population. You know, some may homeschool because, you know, they just want to, you know, like most families do, they want to spend more time with their children. They want to make learning fun. Another reason might be that you know, they want to incorporate teaching children their you know, incorporating the culture into learning, and it can be a wide variety of things: art, cooking, just different lessons. And then a lot of families also, they, you know, there isn't really any, and even if a school might have the majority might be Latino students, there really aren't that many lessons or curriculums geared towards Latinos, studies or history, anything like that. How does Oak Meadow, what are they doing to make sure that they're representing diverse cultures in this country? Because it's not only an emerging, I mean, a lot of Latinos are starting to homeschool, but it's also going on in a lot of African-American families and Asian families are doing it as well.
Absolutely. Yes. So we have an ongoing relationship with experts in diversity, equity, and inclusion who are reviewing our curriculum on a regular, like we're regularly reviewing and revising our curriculum, you know, to identify and correct outdated language, gender and racial stereotypes, implicit bias, false or misleading narratives, all those kinds of issues. You know, our curriculum has been around for 45 years. So it has, you know, we've done a lot of work on it, you know, in the recent years, sorry, I have cats in the background. We're also working on updating a lot of our literature in our courses over the last 2 years, especially our K-8, incorporating literature from diverse voices and perspectives, and authors. We have our new preschool program that features multicultural stories and social justice themes. So we're trying to work with local social justice organizations and facilitators to, you know, always improve and identify things that need improvement. And also as we come up with new curriculum options, we have a lot of exciting courses coming out in our high school program We have a race and ethnic studies course. We have a new African literature course. We have a Latino literature course coming out next year, I think. And then we also have a more social justice based English course that just came out. And all of, like I said, our K-8 courses have been updated with literature. Specifically, grade 2, the Book of Cultures have Latino characters. We have in grades 7 and 8, grade 8 is focused on civics, and we have books by Pam Munoz Ryan, Esperanza Rising, They Read Echo, and Baseball in April by Gary Soto. We also have Latino authors in our race and ethnic studies class and our American literature social transformations course. And there's also a lot of opportunities in the curriculum, for students to explore, their family history, their stories and traditions and heritage. So, there's so many lessons that can be used as a, more of a spine, backbone to build off of, we have a lot of families with varied religious backgrounds as well who choose a secular curriculum because they can, they can put in what they'd like to of their spiritual practices. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Those are all the questions I have. Does anybody have any questions to ask Shannon from Oak Meadow? I want to thank you again. And Oak Meadow also participated in our conference, our virtual conference, and fingers crossed this year, our conference will be in September 23rd in Chicago. So I'm hoping that Oak Meadow will participate. I'm hoping that Steve said he would love to come to Chicago, so we'll find out. Does anybody have any questions? I will share the website. There's just so much information on the website. That's why when I was looking for sponsors for our conference, I was looking for companies that were more representing us, and Oak Meadow was such a good fit. I think somebody has a question in the chat. Let me see.
Yep, I see it. What is the typical length for a curriculum per day? That's average. Yeah, so that's a good question. So in grades K-4, I would say it's probably maybe 3 to 4 hours a day active with curriculum material, which doesn't mean sitting down with, sitting down time necessarily. A lot of things like math lessons and science lessons are very active and can be kind of incorporated into an activity, going outside, playing math games as you're going on a walk, that kind of thing. So 3 to 4 hours doesn't mean sitting at a desk for 3 to 4 hours, but that's about how much lesson time. When you get up to grades 5 through 8, you might be looking at an hour per subject per day with the 4 core subjects.
Thank you. Does anybody have any else? Thanks, Arcelia.
I do.
Yeah.
Hi, Shannon. Thank you for giving us the overview. I'm really super picky about curriculum. I've gone through a whole bunch of different kinds. Do you all have any samples so that I can get a feel of what this project based, I like that idea, but I would like to get more, be able to see some type of sample from each subject to see if it's something that is worth incorporating, worth doing, because that would help me a lot.
Yeah, we have some great comprehensive curriculum samples on the website. So the easiest way to get there is if you're on oakmeadow.com and you click on About Us, there is a link to curriculum samples. And we have them for every grade level and every subject. And what you'll see is you'll get the full table of contents for the course book, and then usually 2 or 3 weekly sample lessons pulled from the course book. So you can see a whole weekly lesson, a few of them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
I have a question.
Mhm.
For those of us, I guess, who are doing the distance learning, and who participate in like the whole program, are there opportunities for group projects to occur or for like the kids to connect virtually somehow, or is it really just like an individual at your own pace kind of thing?
Well, we do have, so for grades K through, well, for all grades, there are special events that happen that teachers run. It might be a craft project, might be a book club meeting. So those things pop up that you can sign up for. Ongoing, we have a pen pal program for K through 6. And I said the book clubs, but yeah, a lot of individual events where you can sign up and students can have some time together working on something collaboratively over Zoom with a teacher guidance. So those are special events. For grades 7 and 8, they have what we call the homeroom forum, where that's basically a social email-based forum, and the high school has that as well. It's called OM Awesome.
Thank you.
There's another question in the chat. It says, that was my next question. Oh, I think she already asked, what does Waldorf-inspired
What is
really
Waldorf
mean?
inspired? Yeah, so it's not like a fully Waldorf curriculum that follows the typical Waldorf schedule as far as what's covered when. Really what we pull a lot of from Waldorf is that the heads, hands, heart, where we're really focusing on the whole child piece, the projects, the hands-on, what's that? Oh, you can print out. Yes, you can print out sample lessons to use. Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Let me see if anybody else has it. Does anybody else have anything? Oh, she's saying thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
So currently, I'm Kim, by the way. I am currently helping my aunt. She's fairly new to homeschooling, but her child has a learning disability. He has dyslexia. And so my kids we were pretty established within homeschooling, but I don't know if within Oak Meadow, there's a possibility of incorporating it into a situation where in terms of his reading, he's elementary level, but math, he's high school level. So is that something that you can like choose a grade level for one thing and a different grade level for the other?
Yeah, for the most part, you can mix and match. In grades K through 3, the curriculum is integrated where all the subjects are in one course book, and math starts to be separated out in grade 4. So you could buy grade 6 math for grade 4 student if that is what makes sense.
Okay.
And one of the things we typically, when people are looking at the curriculum samples and thinking about grade level, we always suggest starting with age when looking at grade level, because the curriculum has been written to be developmentally appropriate. So emotionally, socially, not just academically, because you can always add challenge to lessons, where students have particular areas of strength, or add support while keeping on kind of what's developmentally appropriate. But that said, math is one that that's probably the most common to be taking from different grade levels is the math.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks. Does anybody have any?
I do. My internet was messing up when I think someone was asking a question. Like, since some of us may have kids in the same age area, are there any kind of like group ones or something? I know someone asked this question, but my internet kind of got a little bit messed up there. Like the potential for like buying it as a group, something like, or doing a certain class, for instance.
Like having a classroom. Yeah, so that would be a great question for our school liaison team. And so if, Zella, you're in communication with Steve, right? About, yeah, so that would be a great question to ask about any sort of, homeschool co-op kind of scenario.
Yeah, I'll be in touch with him. Thanks, Melissa. And I'll be in touch with you too, Melissa, about that. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Well, thanks so much, Shannon, for joining us. During the conference, when the presentation was given, there was some questions asked, but I think this is more of an opportunity to get to know Oak Meadow more and the staff there, and also you, who was also, you're a homeschooling mom, a veteran as well. Can I ask, why did you decide to homeschool?
Well, it happened that the Waldorf school that my son was going to closed pretty soon after the school year started. And we weren't sure what we were going to do, and a friend of ours had the Oak Meadow curriculum, and so we started using that, and I just kept with it for a while, and it was wonderful. I know. I wanted him to stick with it forever, but he had some friends in the neighborhood who roped him into going to the public school.
Well, at least it worked out and he's happy, so.
Yeah, but those were some good years together.
So, I mean, I look back at pictures, when my kids were little, sometimes when they're little, they need so much of your attention that you sometimes want them to grow up. But then sometimes photos pop up on my phone of memories like from 5 years ago, and we were on a field trip or we were doing some craft, and now I get nostalgic. I miss it. So, yeah.
I know my baby's about to be an adult.
Yeah. Yeah. They go fast.
No.
Well, thanks again, Shannon. Does anybody have any other questions? No. Okay. Thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, please feel free to reach out if anything comes up. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. And some of us you're free to stay, Shannon, if you like. We stick around for another 20 minutes and just check in on each other to see how we're doing. So it's up to you. But thank you. I know your time is valuable as well. Everybody says thank you.